Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining Orange County Realtors Global Business Alliance's virtual trade mission to Mexico. First of all, I would like to thank our wonderful Global Week task team members, our dedicated committee liaison Feng, and my vice chair Mary for their hard work and promoting our annual Global Week events this year. This is our last event of the week. And I also want to give special thanks to Flavia and Spencer for taking the time to getting their group of AMPI experts together for our panel today to bring to you and to share with us the real estate opportunities in Mexico and how to obtain them. So let's gear in and start the panel shortly. Just so you know, we also have a few raffle prizes at the end to give out. So please tune in until the end to be entered into the drawings. Oh, hi, Manuel. How are you?
Hello, how are you? My pleasure. I'm
Good.
sorry, I was with clients, so
Oh, no
clients kill everything.
worries.
Yeah. How are you? Good morning to
Good. Thank you.
everybody.
Good morning.
Please, Lori.
Well, let me introduce you right now, and then
Thank you.
we can start our session. As we begin our discussion with our panel, please, if you have any questions, keep it at the end, but you can type it into the chat box and we will get to the Q&A at the end of the session. Okay, well, Manuel Evia here, you are the AMPI Global Director currently, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. He's a certified public accountant. He holds a master in finance, economics, business, and a real estate appraisal, and also holds a PhD in strategic management and development policies. He's also CIPS certified and with other certifications in ECO 110 and O1 and O2 and TRC. He's been undergraduate and graduate professor in accounting, finance, and economics since 1994 at national and international universities, and also served as a director at the business schools and universities. He has been a member of AMPI since 2020 and is now currently the coordinator of the Southern region and part of the board of directors in 2021 and 2023, and is the organizer of the Yucatan Real Estate Forum in 2022 and 2023. And you are also an instructor at the National AMPI Training, Research, and Statistics Center. And the businesses that you currently are involved in are the business brokerage, which takes care of investment projects, capital investments, financing and venture capital, strategic management consulting for business development and corporate training, real estate brokerage in the Yucatan Peninsula, and also real estate appraisal services, which helps foreign clients.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you. Well, if you would like, please start the session and you can do your introduction.
Of course, of course. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you, presenting what I like most, my country, Mexico. And of course, how we make real estate business in our country. I would like to take we have everything for sale. We have everything to offer to our beloved customers. Beaches to beautiful cities to marvelous historical buildings. Everybody is available in Mexico, and we are an incredible, amazing hospitality country. We are very happy to have you here. I'm very happy to share with you our culture and, of course, our business opportunities. You may apologize myself because I have another meeting. I need to sell. So I would like to introduce you my team who is with us this morning. I would like to introduce you very talented realtors. They didn't born in Mexico. They born in a beautiful country, Venezuela. My two beloved friends. Sugina Helvis. Sugina is the national coordinator of AMPI Global, and Fabia Eisenchel, the coordinator of the South Zone of our association, okay? And they are going to give you a context, an amazing context of how we are making business in our beautiful country. On behalf of AMPI, the National Association of Real Estate Agents, I give you the most warm welcome. I would like to talk to you a little about AMPI. AMPI was founded in 1956, is the oldest and the largest Mexican association of real estate agents. We have nearly of 7,000 associations, all around the country, and we cover all the corners of our beautiful country. So that is what our association is, okay? And just like the NAR, we have an international branch in our association that is AMPI Global. As you heard, I am the director of AMPI Global, and our task is to bring the opportunities to another association of realtors around the world to have the right access to Mexican business, okay? So I would like to ask my dear Sujin to talk more about our association and how we make business at Mexico. Please, Sujin, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Manuel. It's an honor for me join with you today or this Realtor Association. So let's continue with this presentation. Everybody is watching my screen or not? No, yet, okay. Okay, and the real estate laws, we are in AMPI, we have been working all these years to create the laws in each state. So in Mexico, 23 states with approved real estate law. That's a very important improvement that we have been getting. And in this way, we can, it's more easy connecting Mexico with the global real estate market, okay? Investing in a property in Mexico presents multiple competitive advantage for foreigners in all the type of real estate activities, luxury, commercial, lands, investments, the smaller one. Talking about the economy and demographic characteristic of our country, so our capital is Mexico City. The population is 131 million people. The currency is the Mexican pesos, and the surface area of our country is very big, 1,965,000 kilometers, no? More or less. So this, we have different landscapes, weathers, that's the variety and the most of the variety opportunities to do activities and do business with other countries. Accounts between companies with direct investment in Mexico are in $100.59. And the FDI distribution in Mexico in 24, the growing was the 14% in reinvestment from 23 versus 24. And the foreign direct investments in Mexico now is more than $31 million. And talking about the legal aspects of the foreign ownership in Mexico, basically we have to understand, we have three important things to know, okay? Understanding the foreign ownership in Mexico, the key regulation for foreign purchasing property are in restricted zone. The restricted zones means the around 61 miles or 50 kilometers far from the coast. The role of the notary public in real estate transaction here in Mexico is more relevant compared that the notary in United States. No, basically, here in Mexico, the notary public, essentially formalizing property transfers, ensures the legal compliance and validation of the contracts, and guarantees clear property title transfer and the proper registration. And another very important aspect in the legal matter is the taxes implication. Because when the buyers acquire the property, this amount could disappear, depends of the municipality of the state and the other local legal and tax professionals to navigate to the potential tax liabilities. So basically, all this information, we handle this through the public notary. And the timing and process of property ownership in Mexico basically include 3 phases, okay? The closing procedures takes from 20 to 60 days because we have, depend of the location of the property, do an administrative procedure with the foreign affairs permission. And then the signature of the title. And after the signature of the title, the final deed signing takes another different period because this title must be registered at the public register of the state where the property was sold. So basically, the closing period could be from 20 days to 60 days, and then you got the possession of the property, and after maybe 2-3 months, you are going to receive the title, the final title, completely registered in the public register of the state. Understanding the property taxes in Mexico. When purchasing a property in Mexico, it's essential to be aware of various taxes that may apply from the acquisition tax to the capital gain tax. Understanding these financial obligations ensures a smooth investment process. Okay, here, this one. The purchasing taxes in Mexico, the acquisition tax is 2.2 to 5%. It depends of the location of the property, okay? And the rental income tax is 60% on rental earnings if applicable. The value add tax is 16% only in some transactions because these apply when you buy a commercial property. And the capital gain tax is 25% average when selling a property. So this, when you have the listing, when this seller sells, he has to pay the capital gain tax. And when somebody buys the property, basically pay the acquisition tax and maybe if apply, the value add tax. And this will be applied in case of commercials. This is another very important point that we have to know. The money laundering protection in property transactions. Our countries, United States and Mexico, are connected with all this information. In Mexico, no cash payment over $42,317, okay? Any cash payment exceeding this amount is not allowed, okay? And The other payment, basically most of the payment are by bank transfers, okay? And talking about again the foreign ownership options in Mexico, the restricted zones are those lands within 100 kilometers or 61 miles of the border, or 50 kilometers or 31 miles from the coastlines. Transactions in these areas are executed via a bank trust. That's the reason, because I explained to you those 21st days is to complete this bank trust procedure. It's an administrative procedure. Other areas in location outside the restricted zone, foreign nationals can purchase property by obtaining the Foreign Affairs Ministry permit before the final closing. The same thing is an administrative procedures. And the due diligence in locations outside the restricted zones, foreign nationals can purchase property by obtaining a Foreign Affairs Ministry permit before the final closing. And talking about the benefits to join like a global member of AMPI, okay? Through our website, you can get the information about the directory of the global networking and connect with professionals in Mexico in the area that you are interested to find a property or assist one of your clients who needs to sell or some service in real estate. Okay. AMPI includes professionals like people who do the appraisals, the financing, the legal services, okay? All of them are members of AMPI. You can see along our trade mission today. Market insights, you are going to get access to the trends and report of Mexico. Exclusive education, in that way, nowadays we have different programs in Spanish and English to explain how to do business in Mexico, how prepare your company to the global business. Are very interesting. You can get this information from our website, the ampi.org. The international partnerships to collaborate with real estate firms, professional recognitions, and discounts and offer, because AMPI has many years here in Mexico and they have been developed a lot of agreement with companies to be easy to work with us. So this, that's talking about our website, you can review. This is the link from our website. So this is a small and quickly view through AMPI here in Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you, Celine.
So I'm ready.
I'm going to introduce you to Flavia, sorry. Flavia is our regional coordinator of AMPI Global in the south and southeast of Mexico. So it includes more than 5 states here. So now Flavia, and she's a real estate agent and belongs to AMPI Tulum. And she's going to talking us about some particular information of this part of the region. Thank you. Go ahead, Flavia.
Okay, so first of all, I'm very, very happy to be here and to have the opportunity to show you a little bit about the beauties that we have. I made 2 presentations with how I'm going to explain you what I want to show you. So if you are ready, please fasten your seatbelts that I'm going to take you to a quick trip to this investor paradise, Rivera Maya, where life and profitability get together. So as we know, please, Spencer, Christian, whoever needs to make to jump during I'm making the presentations, because you think it will be okay to make a question, please feel free. So as brokers, we always take care about location, the legal documentation, the profitability and the market growth, and to invest in a real smart investment. But right now, it's very important also this part of nature. And that's what we have in Rivera Maya. In Rivera Maya, we have Sian Can that has 9 ecosystems. We have the second largest coral reef. We have over 2,500 cenotes. We have activities of diving, paddle boarding, snorkeling. We have more than 7,000 kilometers of coastlines. It's more than what Florida has. And we also have the Jaguar Park that I think that it's very important to understand the dimension of the Jaguar Park. Just so you can get an idea, it's 3 times what Central Park in New York is. And once you're in, you're gonna see the Mayan ruins. You can go cycling, but it gonna drives you through 7 different pristine beaches. And we also have the unique ruin, that it's facing the beach. And the reason why it's facing the beach, it's because just in front we have the coral reef. So when pirates tried to come and hit it, it was not possible, because there's only one way where you can go in. Now, all of us love this part about that data analysis, and I think that this is very important, because if we hear what is happening and how much money and investment it's moving in this side, then we can understand why it's the perfect place where to invest. If we see that the government had invested more than 50 billion pesos in federal investments, as the highway, the green parks, the bridge of Nichtupé, the Mayan train has more than 25 stops and gets over 5 states. So it's a huge investment that we have to understand that it's the perfect moment in an emerging market where to invest. Now, this is also a part that I love, because I also have kids living in different parts of the world. I have a daughter living in Boston. I have another daughter living in Germany. And I perfectly know when you go to the supermarket, what you can get for $100 in the States and what you can get here and what you can get in Germany. And I think that's a very important key point when we're talking about a second home, of people that are looking forward to retire. And I like to make this comparison. Maybe it's a funny way, but for example, imagine that you can own an apartment here for 200,000 US dollars, and you're gonna pay your annual tax could be $200. So that is one nice dining in any restaurant in the States, or maybe less than 2 entrances to a Broadway in New York. And water bills go over $21. So all these expenses that you have in pesos, it's something that I think that we as broker need to transfer to our clients so they can understand what are the key points and why Mexico, it's a good place where to invest. Also, if we're talking about living in the beach, that I think it's the best place where to live. Now, when we're talking about the return of smart investments, I wouldn't say that you can get good returns of investment of every property. That's why I do think that you really need to have a local agent, a realtor that has all the certifications that today law that ask us for, because we have to have a certificate license as you do in the States. And when that happens, then you can have a good return of investment, a very good average of appreciation, because we're seeing, and you can also see it because now everything it's in internet, how hotel occupancy goes very, very well. And the merge marketing, it's growing each year. Also, something that I think that it's important, because before people used to buy as an investment, now they're looking forward for a second home or a retire home. Sometimes they buy just one. Sometimes there are 2 or 3 couples buying together. So you need to know that where you're buying have activities for every kind of clients. So that's what I think that it's also very interested to understand that's happening in Rivera Maya, where you can get retreats, where you can get nightlife and beach clubs, when you can go to the ruins, where you can have first class gastronomy, and where you can have also vibrant arts, as we have art with me. This weekend we just had a concerts in Playa del Carmen. So if you just see it from one side, you say, okay, it's just beach, but not. It's more than beach. It's a new lifestyle that you can have for less than what you're getting in the States with less money. And I always say that you have to know where giants are putting their funds, where are they investing. And if we see that hotels as Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt, and all these global brands are every year opening a hotel here, it's because they know what they're doing. So I do think that it's that time that we get all these clients that in your case are clients they already bought in the States, and now they want to have a second home, or maybe they want to have a retired home, that you can give the correct advice. I made here like a little comparison between what's the difference between investing in Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, and Cozumel, because at the same that happens in the state, it's different if you invest in Chicago, the people that invest in Miami, and all this. And that's an important also to be aware, because not everything is for everyone. But when you have the clue point of what our clients looking for, and you have the correct advisor local, then you can make that happen in a smooth way. So I will tell you that the time it's now, and we can make your clients, and sometimes I also will say that brokers from the States are also clients, to discover this new opportunity. If you don't have a question in this way, I would like to jump to the other presentation. We are okay so far?
Yes, thank you, Flavia. Yeah, I think we're asking the audience to keep their questions until the end.
Okay, so I made here like a comparison now where we're talking about data, no? Because I think that it's completely different. Sometimes people come here and they say, okay, I want to buy a condo near the beach for $100,000 US. That will never happen. It's correct that we are in Mexico, but not because we are in Mexico, things are as cheap as people think. So here what I made, it's like a small reference so you can get an idea of what's the difference between, for example, if you buy an apartment in Puerto Cancun, that will be like the most expensive area in Cancun, that if you buy a 3-bedroom house in a place that it's not as expensive, but it's also nice, or if you want a villa in a golf court, no? So those things are like different price points. And also it's important because sometimes your client wants this kind of properties and you're not thinking about that. No, it happened to me last year. I had a client that I didn't thought that I was going to sell him $1 million villa. And I did it in a golf court because that was what he was looking for. After you do the good discovery, then there's where when you throw all over and you know where you are and where they are. Then if we're gonna go to Playa del Carmen, for me, it's completely different. It's like the middle. It's like a normal and a vibrant community where we are having a lot of expat. And it's funny because you can see that, for example, if you're having a studio apartment near Fifth Avenue, it can cost you the same thing that you're gonna pay for a 3-bedroom apartment in the residential area. But then if you want to have also a lot near the beach, it can cost you 4 times what a lot in the residential area it's going to cost you. So it's not about what it's good or what it's bad. It's about what are the needs of your client. What is he looking for? He's looking that he wants to walk and be in the beach in a minute, or he wants to have like a second home where he can get an easy mortgage out or an equity of his house and invest over here. And it will be talking about Tulum. For me, Tulum, it's completely different. Just so you can have an idea, Tulum has half of the beach of what Playa del Carmen has, and Playa del Carmen has the half of the beach what Cancun has. But in Tulum, the price points are completely different because here we have what we call this eco luxury barefoot. So maybe here it won't be so much about the location, it will be about the unique project that you're checking out. I don't know if you were aware, but if not, check it out. I'm going to give you the name. There's a hotel that just got an award of a Key Michelin that it's called Milan. I love that developer. He builds also houses. And that hotel, it's not near the beach. It's not in an amazing location. It's just at the end of Holistica, and they won that award. So Tulum, it's more about the feeling, about the environment, about the experience. And there you can get lots where you can have water, light, electricity ready to build for $7,500. But you can also have an eco chic villa, and you can also buy a complete hotel. So it's going to depend what you're looking for, where your client, we should put our client on. And with working with AMPI members as Sujin told, I think that this is something that it's very important because sometimes you hear, oh, but this development they haven't finished, or this is a scam, or whatever. I think that all these things happens all over the world. The thing is that you have to be beside someone local that knows the market, that knows the law, that knows the CV of the developers, and that way the experience begins from the very beginning. When I make the Zoom with my clients and they tell me, Flavia, at what time are we going to meet? And I always tell them, at that time where you can be with a cup of wine and I can have 100% of your attention, because in this moment, it's where your experience is beginning. So that's why we are here, all the AMPI team, Suegin, Manuel, Carlo, because we want you and your clients to make this a unique experience. So thank you very much for the opportunity to present. It's just like a little candy, how I call it. No, that we can go deeper in another session, but this is like in big numbers what we have.
Thank you, Flavia. Who would you like to next to talk about the process?
So I will introduce Nancy, that she's an attorney. I think that it's very important because I think that the speakers that are coming right now, they are Nancy, Carlo, and Spencer, are like the most important, because I think that when you buy a property, okay, it's perfect, you love it, it has a 3-bedroom, the pool, whatever. But everything goes legal, taxes, and how you're gonna get that money. And once you have that, then we can talk about if you want a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, a hotel, a villa, whatever. So I'm gonna give now the word to Nancy. She's an attorney. She's part of AMPI members at Playa del Carmen. So Nancy, please, you're welcome to talk and give your experience to all of us.
Thank you, Flavia. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. It's my pleasure to be here. An honor to share with you a little bit of my experience. My name is Nancy Soberanis. I am currently owning a legal office, and I have been there for the last 15 years. My office is located in Playa del Carmen, and I live in Playa del Carmen since 20 years ago. I have a law degree and several, degrees on law. So this is by saying that I have plenty of experience on the real estate market and the real estate legal world. I have prepared a presentation for you that more than the presentation is what I would like to share with you in words and experience, no? Let me Okay. Can you see my screen? Sorry. Okay. Oops. Oh. Wait. Okay. Okay, so about owners owning property foreigners owning property in Mexico. Well, foreigners can own property in Mexico, whether it's from a trust, which is the main subject I'm here to talk to you about, but it could also do it by a Mexican company, because that question also arises when I make this explanation. However, for the profile of an investor that wants to simplify the process and not get into too much of a tax involvement and tax obligations, I always recommend to create a Mexican trust, because for more than 50 years, it's been the most safe way of investing in Mexico. And although there is a bank involved, a Mexican bank involved, because foreigners needs to create a trust, there is there's a legal requirement to create this trust, right? The trust is simply you're having a title, and this title it's owning, it's putting your name there, and it also works as a will. It has 10, currently the trust is for 50 years, which is renewable. You can renew that over and over, and it means that it goes to your family. And it also works like a will, because when you create a Mexican trust, you put the names of your relatives on the trust. So if something happens to you, this person can take the property, you know? The cost of this trust approximately and overall is $500 per year. And independently of how to acquire or form the trust, you should know that you can sell this property. You can, as I said before, you can inherit this property, and you can sell it whether it's a Mexican or whether it's a foreigner. If you sell it to a foreigner, you are transferring the rights of your trust. And then if you are selling to a Mexican, that will mean in legal terms that you are terminating your trust and transfer the property to a Mexican. So what is the typical process? At the moment I get involved is when the realtor or the buyer look for our office, looking for some advice to review the promissory agreement. When I get this request is because the realtor already made the walkthrough of several properties, because there's already an offer in place. And when the offer is accepted, that's when my office is somebody calls my office. Could be the developer, could be the somebody recommended. Yes. Okay, so could be the developer, could be the buyer, could be the realtor, and yes. Does anybody has? Sorry.
No, I don't think anybody has any questions. You can continue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So when we get this contract, well, what we do basically is that we make a due diligence, right? So we have to investigate who is the developer. I mean, if I would like to separate also the due diligence procedure, because when it's an existing property, a second sale, what it's easier because you already have the property ready to be occupied, no? So you basically make the due diligence based on who is selling the property, and if this property have free of lift certificate, if it's current in all taxes and all of that. But when it's a pre-sale project, that's when the due diligence becomes more complicated, because you do have to investigate more and dig in more on if the developer have all the permissions, if this is the first development that this company is constructing here in the area, or if this is a second or third project and there's another successful projects behind this developer. And also asking for the developer what are their plans in terms of delivery dates, and possible consequences if these delivery dates and closing dates are not happening in those right dates. So negotiating about penalties and all of that, no? So when we finish that process, when the due diligence is done and the contract is signed, we depending if this is an existing property already, say a second sale property, the closing takes approximately from 30 to 40 days. However, when the property is a pre-sale project, it could take 1 year or sometimes 2. That means that if now in July 2025, a client hires me to make that due diligence and sign the contract, I might see the client again in 1 year or 1 year and a half when the closing date is starting being is near from us, no? So what is the legal protection that exists? Well, commonly the parties that are involved in this process is the escrow agent. We could ask escrow to be involved and to put the down payment. The lawyer making the due diligence and representing the client for the negotiations. The notary will finalize the final. He's the one that is going to produce the final deed. For existing properties and ready to deliver, I always recommend my clients to have an inspector coming into the house to certify that all the electrics, hydraulics, and structure is in good conditions. And then finally the notary, no? Going more specifically to the trust.
Let me stop you just a minute, because I think that here it's something that's important to understand, that even do people, the clients have their own attorney in the States, they need an attorney over here because laws are different. And in the States, this inspection, it's by law. You have to do it. No, in Mexico, you don't. It's not by law. So when you are with an attorney, like you are with Nancy, they won't allow you to buy the property without this inspection. Something that I think that it's very important, because if not, after you buy it, it comes a lot of stuff out that you could waive it if you have the correct person by your side. I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that.
It's okay, no problem. So and then about the trust, as we were the first panelist was making this explanation. Is a contract that is going to be good for 50 years, and why does the trust exist? These have really an historical background, and this was a prevention that the Mexican government created in the old times where there were some threats of invasion from other countries. And this is why they said that foreigners should have a restricted zone if they want to buy in Mexico. That's why if you buy 50 kilometers from the coast and 100 from the borders, you need the trust. But for example, in Mexico City, for example, which is right in the middle of the country, you do not need a trust, no? And politically, this subject have been discussed several times, because at this moment, I mean, 100 years after those provisions from the government, there is no more concerns about that, and there are legislators who have requests to have the trust being washed away, but we have not get to that point. So until that moment comes, we will be able to transfer properties directly to the foreigners. Well, as I said before, these are the ones that are involved on the closing: the broker, the lawyer, escrow agent, the notary, and the bank. In the case, it's a bank trust, right? And how long does it take? Well, that's a very good question, because as I said, if it's a pre-sale, you make the once the offer is done, the due diligence and signing the contract, it could take, it depends a lot of how much, if the developer have all the documents in, I mean, as he should. Because sometimes what happens is that you are requesting documents, and if the developer doesn't qualify, well, you have to wait for them to happen, no? But in most of cases, when the lawyer gets involved, you request from their information, and the contract could be signing in 2 weeks most. And then the payments start being making in the case of a pre-sale. And then, as I said before, when it's an existing property ready to be occupied, it could take from 30 to 40 days to close. In regards the average close of closing, I should also explain that closing, what we understand here in Mexico, legally speaking, by closing, is signing the deed, transferring the deed before the notary, which means when you pay off the property and you receive the keys of the property. Because when you are presenting an offer, this is a letter of intent. And when you are signing a promissory note, what you are doing is formalizing an agreement with more specifics and more detail about if the property will have contents, and what the penalties will be involved. So I would like to make that difference among these concepts, no? And also would like to take a look of that. I would ask you to take a look of this screen, because I made a classification of what is the purchase and sell type of expenses that someone can face, and depending on what site is your site. If you are purchasing the property, you will have obviously to create a trust, to pay the real estate duties, the transfer tax, which is the transfer tax, a municipal tax. It's the city hall, the transmission tax. For example, here in Quintana Roo, we have the 4% in Tulum, which is the highest. In Playa del Carmen, we have 3%. And in Puerto Morelos, which is also a good spot for investors, is 3%. So, and you will have also to pay the notary fees and the legal fees and the escrow fees. This is in case you are purchasing the property. And in case you're selling the property, you will obviously you have to pay a capital gain tax, which is also always depends on your gain. Some miscellaneous, which is some certificate like property tax, the no debt certificates of HOA, the no debt certificates for property tax. In case you're having a trust, well, to have that trust be terminated, if you're selling to a Mexican, you will have to pay for that termination, and also the lawyer fees and the escrow fees, if that's the case. In most of cases, the escrow fees are paid 50-50 from between the buyer and the seller, but it depends. I mean, that could change. About the, I also prepare an amount of the transaction example, because there is the saying around that the closing costs us 5%, which is not quite exactly, because if you see here on my list, to pay 5.6%, the property you are buying should be for $789,000. But if you're paying, which is different if you are buying a property for $236,000, because in that case, the percentage changes to 8.42%. So it is just a way of giving you an idea of how much it costs. And about the notary role, well, the notary role in difference as the US, I know that in the US, anyone with a license can work as a notary, because the role is just to witness who's signing the document, but the notary doesn't really prepare that document. The only thing that the notary does is just certifying that that person signed whatever it is. Here in Mexico is different, because here in Mexico, first of all, you need to be a lawyer, and you need to have a license from the governor of the state. And in the case of the governor, and in the case of the notary, Mexican notary, the Mexican notary itself is the responsible to transfer the capital gain taxes to the IRS. So, which means that he make the calculation of this tax, and he takes this money from the seller and he pays it to the IRS. In the case of individuals, in the case of companies, the companies does their taxes their own. And then also the notary need to to comply with a lot of rules, federal laws. For example, the federal anti-money laundering and the anti-laundering money law that needs to certify where the money comes from, who is paying for the property, who are the owners, I mean, there's a lot of roles that and more responsibilities than the notary have, no? So I would leave it like this. I should say also that during all this process, what something we explain to our clients, that the professional relation we create with our clients is from the moment they visit us from the first time until the moment we give them the deed, file it and register, and with all stamps and receipts in hand. So most of the times our professional relations with the clients lasts for at least 2 years, no? So that's all for today. I will leave my contact information on the chat chart. So my name is Sofiras. I am very happy to be with you, and thank you for having me, and enjoy the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nancy, and thank you for being here. That's great and important information. Now we've come to the portion of our presentation about financing options for foreign nationals. And I have the pleasure of introducing our speakers, Carlo Dupont and Spencer Hu. Carlo Dupont is the founder of Astamar Asset Management, LLC, and the principal fund manager of the newly launched REIT Latitude 20 Equity Fund, LLC, a $50 million fund, already $25 million funded. The fund focuses on acquiring income-producing properties in Mexico's premier resort destinations, targeting exponential equity growth and strong cash flow returns. Carlo brings 20 years of expertise in real estate acquisition, development, sales, and mortgage lending dating back to 2005. His passion for entrepreneurship and building passive income is evident in his ability to structure deals that create win-win opportunities for all parties involved. A Los Angeles native with a dual U.S. and Mexican citizenship, Carlo's love for real estate was sparked at a young age. As a child, he accompanied his parents to their residential apartment buildings and commercial strip malls throughout Los Angeles, assisting with maintenance and rent collection. These early experiences laid the foundation for his deep understanding of real estate investment and management. Carlo holds a degree in economics and a master's in finance from the UCLA Anderson School of Management. His professional journey began in the investment sector as a stockbroker and certified financial planner, giving him strong financial acumen that later translated seamlessly into real estate. Following in his family's footsteps, he expanded his expertise into apartment building acquisitions and private equity real estate financing. As a developer, Carlo has successfully managed 100 to 200 unit acquisitions in a single transaction. He has played a pivotal role in placing over $90 million in debt financing and currently manages a $15 million debt portfolio focused on multifamily and commercial construction and renovation. Since 2014, he has been actively involved in the development and disposition of multiple real estate projects, including 6 ground-up developments. Beyond his professional achievements, Carlo values family time and is a proud father, all thriving in their respective careers. An advocate for active living, he enjoys martial arts and golf in his free time. And let me introduce to you Spencer Wu. Spencer Wu is an award-winning global realtor and certified international property specialist, recognized for his leadership and expertise in cross-border real estate investment. With a strong background in working with foreign buyers as well as international investors, Spencer regularly presents global real estate opportunities and strategies for working with international clients. Since early 2010, Spencer has been a pioneer in the China outbound investment market, helping facilitate hundreds of U.S. real estate transactions within his team and professional network. He has led real estate investment tours across China, Mexico, Vietnam, Thailand, and Dubai, many resulting in a direct deal as a result of an investment tour. Spencer has held leadership roles in key real estate organizations, including Vice President of FIOPSI Americas, the International Real Estate Federation, Founding President of FIOPSI USA Los Angeles, Southern California Council, Chair of the California Association of Realtors Global Real Estate Forum, and Chair of Orange County Realtors Global Business Alliance. A global investor himself, along with his wife, Spencer holds properties across the globe in USA, Mexico, China, and Thailand. He brings his firsthand experience and passion for global investment to both buyers who wish to safely acquire global real estate properties, as well as professionals seeking to grow in international real estate sales. Welcome, both Spencer and Carlo.
Great, thank you for that introduction, Mary. Buen dia, everyone. Carlo, how do you want to structure how we talk? Should I just go over some basics and then you can talk about more of the mortgage financing section of it?
You can talk shop, absolutely. I just wanted to thank you, Spencer, and as well as Flavia and Christina for the invitation. Honored to be here today.
Perfect. So thank you again, Nancy, Flavia, Sujin, for the great information and background we already have. So me and Carlo will be discussing how do you pull this off, whether you are going to be interested yourself or if you have clients that are going to be interested. And we're basically going to be talking about the money side of it. How do you purchase this? So Mexico traditionally is more of a cash purchase market. So more than 70%, whether it's the local citizens or foreigners, they would be using an all cash. So a lot of people, they would be basically figuring out how to assemble that cash if it's possible in their home country. And of course, everyone that's on the presentation today, besides our speakers, they are mostly here in the United States. So the main way to do that would be a cash out refi or a home equity loan. That would be the easiest. That is going to be a little bit more costlier, of course, since we are a little bit higher interest rate right now here in the US. It is down a little bit from a year ago, so that definitely is in our favor. The second way would be to do a direct foreign national type of a loan within Mexico, and that has become more popular within the last probably 5 years or so, maybe 5 to 10 years gap. And traditionally, the interest rates are going to be very high because for the domestic mortgage market, it is very high as well. And by high, we're talking maybe the 10 to maybe 13% range. And shortly, Carlo is going to discuss a kind of a custom hybrid program that his team basically put together. And this is going to kind of combine the benefits of how we do lending here in the US and can apply it to Mexico. So that definitely is going to be something that is very unique. And I've seen a lot of different programs. We've never really pushed it to our clients because one, the interest rate was high, like I just discussed, but two, the timelines and the regulations that the banks that are in Mexico need are very hard to work with, unfortunately. So having a US-based program that is basically funding within Mexico, you know kind of what to expect. because it is going to be from a US-based operator. And Carlo will discuss kind of some of the other benefits because it is a US-based product. There are other incentives as well. So as Nancy mentioned, there are two different types of purchases. One is going to be, of course, a resale property. So if the property already exists, you're purchasing from the existing owner of that existing property. That's going to be a lot easier. That's very straightforward. It goes through an escrow process. And whatever the terms of purchase, basically escrow will oversee. And financing, of course, is going to be fairly straightforward because the property already exists. The second type of property would be a brand new property. And for most of these would be considered what we call pre-sale, meaning the construction has not started yet or would be mid-construction. So with that, the financing is going to take a couple extra steps because you need to wait for the property to finish. But what is offered basically from the developers, usually you have different methods for the payment plan. And a payment plan, not to be confused with financing, but a lot of them use the term financing within Mexico. So please don't confuse the terms of the payment plan with the actual financing for the property. But usually there is no interest involved. So when they mention zero interest financing, that's what they're hinting at. The traditional way to acquire a property is to put a down payment. Usually that's going to be 30%, and that will start the contract. And the traditional would be basically 70% due at handover. That is most straightforward. However, a lot of developers also will offer different payment plan options, or they might be mandatory depending how the developer is set up. And usually that means after the 30% down payment is paid, within that 1 to 2 years or so that the property is being built, there are additional payments that need to be made. Whether that's per month or per quarter. And usually they want you to get up to about a 70 to 80% amount. And then basically the remaining 20% or 30% is basically paid at handover. The key is if the developer is a larger developer, they don't basically need the money from the buyer or the investor to basically meet milestones. They may basically give you additional incentives. So if you are putting 50% down to start your contract or higher than 50%, sometimes they will give you a 5% discount, sometimes a 10% discount. For properties that we acquired, we basically got an 18% discount by basically putting 80%, but the 80% was split over a year. So even though it was a payment plan, it was a large basically a commitment that it would be paid within that first year. So there are ways to basically structure where there are incentives. And then lastly, before I pass it on to Carlo to go over the specific loan program, for those that do have retirement accounts, it is possible to borrow against a 401k. There are fees to do that, of course, unfortunately, but that if there is money available, that is one way to access cash. And then the second way is if you do have a self-directed IRA retirement account, it is possible to purchase basically using the IRA as the actual owner. And of course, you own the IRA, so in effect, you own the property. There needs to be an IRA custodian in order to do that. So an extra step or two involved, but it is possible if there are funds available. And again, I want to remind everyone that there will be a raffle. We will show a video of what's being raffled off after Carlo finishes. So everyone, please stay tuned and don't leave too quick. Carlo, all to you.
Thank you, Spencer. Appreciate that. Yeah, so mortgage financing essentially has been around for a while, as Spencer stated. Rates were much higher and utilizing Mexican banks. Up until recent, we've implemented we have one or two other competitors as well, but we've been very good at using or working with an in-house lender here in the U.S. that will service those mortgage loans, just the same as when you close a mortgage loan here in the U.S. now. Typically, 30, 60 days later, you receive a letter stating that your account's been servicing by another lender. We're utilizing the lender based in that we worked with together, and they're based in Texas. So when a mortgage loan closes, which I'll get to that part later, but once it's closed, the loan will be serviced by a Texas lender. It's all mortgage loans will require impounds, which is PITI, your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So your Mexican tax will be paid through that. Now, the global investing, the reason for investing to begin with Mexico, diversification across currencies, economies, and asset classes. And so we thought, okay, how are we going to implement bringing in a mortgage structure so that Americans feel comfortable in working with with buying a property in Mexico? The key factors here are that our underwriting teams are all familiar with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac guidelines. They all underwrite or have underwritten mortgage loans in the U.S. So they're familiar with the structure and work with and already have the experience of working with the notaries in Mexico, as well as attorneys that handles the whole structure from the beginning. The key factor here in the mortgage side is specifically to allow. We thought, okay, this would allow people to open up affordability. As Spencer had mentioned, predominantly it's been always cash buyers buying in Mexico because mortgage loans were just either unavailable, too difficult to obtain, or it's just the rates were too high. So it could conserve your capital, especially for investors looking to invest. You could one way is obviously you're like Spencer had mentioned on an equity line of credit or HELOC or a 30-year fixed second to pull cash out and pay cash, because that's still obviously an option there. But we enhanced it now to be able to offer a traditional mortgage financing, a 30-year fixed at a 70% loan to value. In some cases, we can take it up to 80% loan to value, depending on certain circumstances. So that's at the discretion of the underwriter, but we can get exceptions done. On the loan side, when you are handling your financing, I'm going to share a screen really quick. One thing important, if you're doing a resale or if you're buying new construction, I'm going to share here really quick. We follow a specific guideline and criteria. We make sure that the developer, can everyone see my screen? Okay. We make sure we actually send a request to the developer himself. We want to ensure that the developer has completed all the tasks. It's a well-known developer. We ask for their documentation, their citizenship. We ask for the description of the property, the escritura, which is all the title documentation on the information. We also want to confirm that the master condominium and subcondominium documents are in place. They've been completed. We're also going to request their manifestation of construction, general construction plans as well. All those is reviewed by an in-house panel to ensure that the development has met all requirements by law in Mexico. And in fact, they have, and we also look at their reputation, what they've completed over the past years. Have they completed other projects? Have they completed it on time? That is not only to protect you as the buyer or the buyer, but also to protect the investment and also the lender as well once the loan's financed. So to ensure that everything's kosher on that end. So that's what we do on that part regards to if you're buying new construction. If you are purchasing a resale, then we follow the same guidelines. We do work closely. Obviously, here in the United States, we utilize escrow and title, as we all know. But at the same time, there's two additional parts that come in play, which was mentioned earlier by the attorney Nancy, which mentioned how that structure works. So we work together with an attorney and a notary, which a notary is a lot different than a notary here in the U.S. They have a lot of high power. They're assigned by the government. They ensure title, structure, taxes, etc. So we work closely with them as well. The escrow and title, the attorney, and the notary to ensure that the transition of the property is happening correctly. The part of touching in on the mortgage side as well, doing that process that escrow and title is open, we ensure that traditional also I'm going to touch on that Spencer was mentioning. A lot of transactions in the past will always happen between cash. It'll be between buyer and seller. They transfer cash between each other, and it still goes on now in Mexico. But if you're utilizing a mortgage transaction, we will it's actually a requirement that escrow and title is opened. All funds are transferred through escrow and title. Nothing's going to be transferred between agents or between buyer and seller. So that way it can have complete transparency, same as we have here as we function here in the US. For the loan requirements, typically the underwriters do want to see a 70% loan to value, but like I said, we can go up to 80% on as an exception. The interest rates generally will be about you're usually about 2%, a little higher than what we are right now. So we'll probably be looking at around 7.5 or so on rates for to buy in Mexico at this point. Minimum loan amounts are 200,000, but we can make exceptions as well on that. So if we are, let's say we have a loan amount of 180 or so, 175. I have already been actively working. I just got an exception done for 160, just actually this morning. So we can get exceptions done depending on FICO score, LTV, how strong the buyer is, and also what type of property we're talking about. On the part of the traditional on documentation, we do have, everyone here is probably familiar with the non-QM loans, qualifying with 12 months bank statements. We have programs for that as well, especially for self-employed borrowers that don't, as we know, may not always qualify with traditional documentation of tax returns, the 1120s and 1040s. So we can do a 12-month bank statement program utilizing either their business or their personal bank statements, and we'll take the average of that income and use that to qualify. So that is one way for business owners to qualify to purchase a property in Mexico. We use a traditional U.S. credit report as well. The employment, if it's a wage earner, we'll do traditional wage earner qualification, which would be W-2s, pay stubs, and their bank statements, etc. Spencer and I are going to be working together a lot actually on the mortgage side. So he and I are going to, if you have questions, you'll definitely be able to direct them to both of us, because we're going to be working as a team when it comes to getting borrowers approved and financed and from start to finish. So the application process, pre-approval process, we can get done within about a 72-hour period, fairly quickly, as long as we have all documentations and we are able to pull credit quickly. Now, once we get to that part, obviously traditional closings will take 60 to 90 days because of the lengthier process of buying in Mexico and working with the notary and the attorneys. But we work closely with them to make sure that all that is transitions smoothly aside from the mortgage side. Once the mortgage is closed, the traditional ways, you'll get your first initial mortgage invite, in an email and also by the mail to your mailing address here in the U.S. And the mortgage, it will dictate exactly where to sign on onto your website or where to make your mortgage payments. And at that point, once you have all that set up, you'll have the ability to log in, just like you do like a regular mortgage you have here. Log in, set up auto pay, or just go log in and make your monthly mortgage payments as well. And again, PITI is included as property tax insurance, all include the monthly payments. You don't have to worry about worrying about your property taxes that have to be paid annually there. You'll get that'll appear on your mortgage statement. And annually, you get your annual, so to speak, your final statement that shows what was paid out in taxes and insurance and what you paid to date. And you receive the same traditional tax form as well, so you can use that towards your deductions and filing your tax returns as well. So you do receive that form. My mind, Spencer, help me with that form again. Just trust me.
Should be a 1098.
The 1098. So you receive the 1098 form, and that'll traditionally go out at the end of the year as well, and then you'll receive that on a timely basis. Now on the fideicomiso, which was already touched on, that we want to ensure those are the main things. Obviously, the documentation for qualifying for the loan. We want to make sure that the fideicomiso part has already been completed with the attorney that you'll be working with in Mexico. So we asked for that documentation, request that prior to closing, make sure all that the fifth comiso has been set up. And then also work closely with the notary to make ensure that they have all the proper documentation, title's going to be transferred correctly, and we've already ascertained what the property taxes are going to be for the property as well through the notary. Now on the part of the transition with the credit, typically we will traditionally send you a same typical pre-approval letter. So once we gone through the documentation, everything checks off, we'll issue you a pre-approval letter. It can be either a specific property that we'll address on the pre-approval letter, or if it's a TBD to be determined, we can also set up a pre-approval letter so that you can start shopping for property in Mexico. And when you submit your offers, you submit it along with that specific pre-approval letter that with a TBD on the property. That generally, so the general process is the same as we try to make it as smooth as possible so that Americans understand and they're used to the American process. So we want to make it streamlined that way. So they're clear and understand. I know there's still going to be stress. They're still going to have some animosity with buying properties in Mexico. It's a foreign country. And then we understand that buying property, is usually one of the biggest investments anyone does in their lifetime. So now you multiply that by 10, you're buying in a foreign country. So we get that part. And the idea is for Spencer and I to streamline it, work with you and work with the buyers, explain everything in detail, and then be completely transparent with constant emails of what's happening throughout the process. And we involve the other parties involved in Mexico to go through that work. At this point, if you have any questions as far as FICO scores, the minimum FICO scores typically we're looking at 680. So we can qualify a loan with 680 FICO score. And if they're looking to get the exception, if you want to take it up to the 80% loan of value, then they're going to look for that 700 FICO score, the 700 to 720, if they want to take it up to 80% loan of value. And we can do it. We have the exception. We've gotten the exceptions done in the past. If the FICO score is at the 680 range, then they're going to look more at the 70% loan of value because of the FICO score. But again, this is very flexible, so we can make exceptions on loans, and that's the idea, is to try to fine tune every loan and make it work for the borrower.
And then there was a question in the chat about insurance and what would it cover. Do you know the answer to that, Carlo?
Yeah, so there are some it depends on the year. Like, for example, we just came across that issue just a couple of weeks ago. An American buyer was looking to purchase a property in Cozumel, and they were asking about hurricane insurance. So there are insurance companies in Mexico that would insure the property. We would provide, together with Flavia as well, and as well as Suyan, we can provide you the information for the insurance agencies that can insure the property. And once we have all the information, we would bring that into the loan as well, and make sure that's impounded. So insurance and taxes would both be impounded annually and paid monthly to the entities and the parties in Mexico. So I would say the traditional part at taking the application, we'd send over a list of insurance companies that they can call. We can assist them with that if there's a language barrier. Obviously, I speak Spanish fluently, as well as Flavia, and I know Suyan as well. So we can always make a conference call, get on a phone call with an agent there, do the legwork, find out and get the quotes, and then determine which would be the best option for the homeowner's insurance or hurricane insurance if it's in the Cozumel area.
Perfect. I think we're done with our section.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Spencer and Carlo, for a detailed overview of the finance options and additional loan alternatives that someone from the US can use. So that's great. I guess Flavia and Suyin, do we have any other additional info that you would like to go over?
No, I will say that maybe we can show the video of the raffle, because the main idea of of this webinar was, just to get in a little bit of content about how it's buying in Mexico. And then what we want to do is keep going with what you brokers need of agents think that your clients should buy here, or the properties that you would like to know about different price points. And from there, we can keep moving, maybe each month, I don't know. I want Spencer to take care about that, but I think that we are done if you don't have any questions for us.
Okay, if audience, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, please. Thank you. For our panelists.
Yeah,
And
somebody
then,
asked about a copy of a purchase
mhm,
agreement. Well, we have the promissory purchase agreement.
mhm.
Okay, after the proposal or the letter of intent to buy, the promissory purchase agreement is the first document created specifically for that transaction with that conditions and time frame and everything. The title or the purchase agreement, I suppose, Marta is asking title, the final deed. Just confirm, Marta, is that what you want to see? Just a final deed of a property?
I think she's asking for a sample of what a purchase agreement looks like. So if it's a brand new property, each developer has their own. So there's going to be thousands of versions of it. If it's a resale property, I don't know if Sujin or if Flavia can provide kind of a template
Yes.
of what that looks like, and we can maybe email it.
Yes, I can do it. And I see she's talking about the promissory purchase agreement because she's talking about the cancellation penalty. Because the final deed never has a cancellation penalty. It's a completely change of the ownership, right? Okay, you can send it.
And also each developer has like different cancellation penalty. It's gonna depend if it's a pre-sale, and it's gonna depend with each developer. So like each one, it's completely different. That's why it's very important to hire an attorney from Mexico so you can review all that contract and you can have an easy way in and easy way out in all the phases of the project.
There's a question in there about a 1031 exchange program by Sam. So Sam, Flavia, you can probably touch on it as well, but there's no exact 1031 exchange program, like there is in the US, but there is for capital gain tax. Flavia, can you touch on what the taxes, if you own the property into your primary residence, there is an exemption on taxes, if you can touch on that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's better that Marta, that Nancy, that it's the attorney talk about that, but it's really easy to have your visa over here, because before the only way was just if you had purchased a property that was over almost $500,000. Right now, you can get it also if you have certain amount of money in your bank, so they can see that you're not living over here, and that way you can get your visa. And about the taxes, it's gonna depend, as Nancy said. I'm paying in my apartment that I don't live near the beach, but just 10 minutes from, $50. That's what I pay annually.
Is it $50 a year annually, right?
A year. That is what. And about what you were talking about, Joyce, it's asking, there are buyer's agent and seller's agents involved in the purchase working with the attorney. Yes, of course, because you always, as a broker, you know the developer, and you know until when you can force them to go down with a price or negotiate and all this. But at the same way, you need to know that everything will be well executed in the contract, so you're protecting your client. And also, I think that your client, at the end of the day, it's your friend. So I have clients that each time they come here, they ask you, can I meet you for a coffee? Or are you available this Sunday? Can we meet you? Whatever, right now I have a client that just came for the weekend. Can we have a coffee? Please do. Can you make a hold so we can see you? So at the end, it's going to depend the way you are, how it's that process going to be. Personally, I have clients that call me Mama Flavia because I take care of everything. it's for me, it's very important. Their money, it's my money in the moment they are asking me to make an investment.
Right, always in our class with foreign clients, we explain when you are the Mexican real estate agent assisting a foreign client, you will be his best friend at least for 3 or 4 months. Because everybody needs information. There is another question in our chat box.
Nancy, can you answer that one? How are the property taxes calculated?
Well, there's not a formula exactly to calculate that tax. It depends more on because each city hall have their own income law every year. I mean, every city hall here in the state approves an annual budget. So when that annual budget is approved, they analyze how all the areas are developing and how much demand and infrastructure there is on several areas. Obviously, the beachfront properties will always pay more than the type of areas where workers live, right? But it doesn't, there's not of exactly formula to let you know. It's about the annual budget of every city to be, but I mean, roughly as Flavia was saying, well, let's say for a property that for $500,000, a client could be paying $500 per year for property tax, something like that.
So
And
Nancy-
that it's, and
Yeah.
that's, sorry, and that's gonna depend on the exchange dollar, because if you have it at 20, it's gonna be less.
Yes, correct.
Nancy,
And
so
more.
the appraisal is ordered, correct? So the cadastral, so you confirm that what the value is, and then you determine the tax rate at that point. Is that correct?
Yeah, also that also interfere on the tax because it happens when the buyer is building a house on a lot. Next year you have finished the construction, the property worth more, of course.
Yes, I'm talking about the property manager. Well, if you buy a property, you can hire some company or somebody who has license in the state of Quintana Roo, it depends on the state where is the property, to provide the property management services. Okay, and basically it depends on the services that you need. Okay, the minimum amount for the administrative fees of a property is 10% of the monthly rent that the property has, or if it's for vacational rental, it depends on the service that the owner requires. It could be until maybe 35%, 25 to 35%. You have to choose a company, a local company, is my suggestion.
Okay.
Any other question? We have a surprise.
We have
I
one
don't know,
more
we want to-
question. I'm sorry, because of due to time, it's already 12 o'clock. So in respect for everyone's time, Joyce, your question will be the last one for Flavia.
I think I'll be the one that answered that question. Just let me finish the reading it.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Nancy.
There's really no
That's
set
okay.
time frame. Every agency is different, listed on the MLS. So as soon as the agreement's signed, and put it on the MLS, it's as fast as it should be, as quickly. You can put it in within the 24-hour period. Put it on the MLS. Omni MLS is a choice for the Quintana Roo area, in Mexico City. But there's no specific time frame like there is. I know here in the U.S. there is. And so important to just mention really quick is that not all properties are listed on the MLS, unfortunately, in Mexico. So it's not everyone listed. There's a lot of, so the way to access properties to find out what's going on is to contact individuals directly like Flavia or Suyin and find out what the inventory is out there. Because again, you can do a search on MLS, but it's not going to all be on there, unfortunately. There's a lot of pocket listings and a lot of agents that just don't utilize the MLS system in Mexico.
Thank you. Well, for the question, for Sylvia's question, she's talking about tax-free inheritance through a real estate trust, which is a very good question. Yes, if by law here in Mexico, or at least here in Quintana Roo, if you passed away and you designated your husband or your children, or maybe your dad and mom as your beneficiaries, there's a tax-free there. But if you are designating your cousin, a friend, maybe it could be your partner you never married to, then this is one of my suggestions, no? That if you are putting your partner as a beneficiary because you want to protect him, well, he will be protected because he will inherit the property, but he will have to pay taxes because he's not married with you, right? So this the tax-free inheritance does exist in Mexico, and yes, you can apply for it, but it would be just applicable for a husband, wife, and I mean the main line of parenthood, no?
I'm very happy that there are a lot of questions, so we are ready to make that second webinar, maybe with some property, Spencer.
Yeah, I think at this time, because it's already 12:02, we'll have to save some of the last questions for your next webinar. Would you please show the video for your raffle? And then we also have 2 raffles to give away for our attendees today.
Yeah.
Thank you
Can
for
you do it?
sticking with us. Mhm.
Cristina,
you.
can you do it? Can you put the video for the raffle?
Actually, I don't have it. I thought you were going to do that.
Okay. Okay, then you can
Let
put
me
the,
see.
I'm sorry.
And then everyone, we want to thank Flavia for arranging the 2-night stay in Tulum with one of her developer partners. So it's a last minute prize for everyone to work on. That's the barcode. Do we have the video, Flavia?
Yeah, that's it. But my internet, it's not going like high speed, so I'm not able to. You have it, correct?
I don't have the video handy.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Okay, since we're having some technical difficulties, Flavia, can you introduce what the 2-night stay is, and then we'll put the barcode up.
Yeah, so we're gonna put a QR so everybody can sign on it, and they can leave their email and their phone number, and we're gonna make a raffle of a beautiful development that's already done in Tulum for 2 nights for the winner. So
Yep.
this is what we're gonna try to do each time we have a meeting, a global meeting, to bring a present. And because at the end, what we want you is to come with a trade mission so you can feel what we're talking about.
Yep, so everyone that is still on and is interested to enter the drawing, you can scan the barcode or take a picture right now and fill it out later today. We will select the winner and announce the winner tomorrow. So there's time for everyone to fill it out. Or you can email me or text me and I'll send you the link for the form. And again, let's all thank Flavia for arranging this drawing.
Sometimes we're out there looking for the right place to invest, and we just don't have the clarity to know which development truly makes sense. But then you come across a project like a place that not only offers first-class finishes and solid construction, but also delivers a true lifestyle. Here, you're stepping into an ecosystem, a specialty cafe serving the best coffee in town, each dish crafted with perfectly curated flavors, inspiring art gallery, a relaxing pool area, a yoga space to reconnect, and an elevator for your comfort and convenience. And if you're thinking of renting it out, they've thought of that too. These residences come fully furnished, equipped, and beautifully decorated. All of this right in La Veleta.
Now we see it.
Let me
Oh,
read it from the very
perfect.
beginning.
Sometimes we're out there looking for the right place to invest, and we just don't have the clarity to know which development truly makes sense. But then you come across a project like this, a place that not only offers first-class finishes and solid construction, but also delivers a true lifestyle. Here, you're stepping into an ecosystem, a specialty cafe serving some of the best coffee in town, each dish crafted with perfectly curated flavors, an inspiring art gallery, a relaxing pool area, a yoga space to reconnect, and an elevator for your comfort and convenience. And if you're thinking of renting it out, they thought of that too. These residences come fully furnished, equipped, and beautifully decorated. All of this right in La Veleta, just a few steps away from 7th Avenue, one of Tulum's most charming and attractive areas, surrounded by amazing restaurants and the vibe that people come here searching for. What's more, this space actively promotes culture and art. You can enjoy open-air cinema nights just like when we were kids, magical moments under the stars, where community and creativity come together. And that's when it truly hits you. You haven't just found an investment, you found a home for yourself, for your client, a place where your money can both grow and thrive.
Looks wonderful. So all of you who are still on our panel session right now, please sign the QR code and submit for the raffle prize. At this time, I want to thank again to our wonderful AMPI panel speakers for joining us this year during our Global Week and providing so much information about Mexico's real estate opportunities and the process in purchasing an investment or retirement home there. We look forward to future sessions and collaboration. And because we're definitely a little bit over time today already, so I have to end our virtual trade mission today. And thank you everyone for staying and sticking with us till the end. If you have any further questions, please reach out to our panelists directly as they put their contact info in the chat box. So thank you.